What's up guys, Bo here again, and someone's revving their engines. Hope that doesn't come across too strong in this video. In this video I want to kind of talk about an extension of the previous entry, which is, I talked about love, right? And in this entry I want to talk about connection, right? Essentially, love is connection, right? I talked about light motivations, and the very definition of a light motivation is something that is loving and connected, right? So, connection, when I mean connection in this particular entry, I'm talking more in terms of like the actual kind of physical, the physical kind of act of connecting with someone, or connecting with something, right? But more importantly, connecting with someone in this entry, right? And I mentioned in a previous entry that, you know, there is not love without hate. You know, these are dual aspects. You know, they cannot exist without the other. And you know, throughout your life, you know, you will encounter people. You will, with the people that you love, you know, your family, your friends, and things like that. Then you know, you will encounter many different seasons with them. You know, in essence, you know, you'll go through periods when you're absolutely in love with each other. You know, you love being in each other's company. You know, you'll make amazing memories together. But then you'll also have periods when, you know, you fall out, you know, you have arguments, you get into fights, you know, venom is spat, you know, between you. And this is essentially just the way of life, like I mentioned, you know, emotions come in waves, you know, life happens in seasons. Life is about movement, so, you know, you will come across, you know, these things, right? And, you know, given this, the most important thing, you know, is to remain connected, right? Is to connect, or to be committed, right? You know, the most important thing is commitment, because you're going to have these times, like, even if you find the person that is your absolute soulmate, or you know, you find a group that you love more than your biological family, you know, because it happens. You know, you have more in common with them than, you know, the family that you grew up with. Then, you know, you're still going to have to commit at some point. Like, you're going to have to basically expend some effort to connect with people, right? So, you know, this really applies to all, you know, across the whole kind of board of life. You know, you're always going to have ups and downs. The most important thing is to stick with it, right? But more importantly, you know, when it comes to with people, it's about basically maintaining connection and basically maintaining open, honest communication, regular communication with someone you care about. Because when we do that, well, when we don't do that, when, you know, when you know, something happens, you know, like a perfectly happy relationship, you know, goes into, you know, a rough patch, then, you know, and we don't kind of think to you know, to stay committed and to, you know, maintain the relationship, then, you know, that's when people fall out, and, you know, people just kind of drop out of each other's lives, and we get a very lonely society, which, you know, is very kind of true in today's society. You know, and, you know, with kind of technology and you know, social media and things like that, it's very easy for people to kind of drop out of contact, because you know, you can meet so many people, like, you know, that kind of thing, and the wrong things get said online, and, like, you know, it's not the same as when you're, you know, face to face with someone, or over the phone when you can actually hear their voice, because, you know, when you're just reading someone's word, you can really misinterpret the energy behind what someone is saying. But so when we don't kind of have in mind to maintain a relationship, when we don't occasionally reach out to someone, you know, hey, I haven't spoken to you in a while, or, you know, after an argument, you know, phone the other person back and, you know, just say, you know, I'm really sorry how things have turned out. Or even in the midst of an argument, you know, you can just be like, you know, well, I kind of, actually, let's kind of, I'm kind of being, I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm being a bit too aggressive. Or it's just that, I just feel like this, this is how I feel. And I just wanted you to know that, I don't really have anything against you, I just feel like this. And then you tell the other person, and you just be vulnerable in that way. Right. And, that works miracles. When you kind of ride it through, when you kind of ride it out with someone or a group of people, then you can only become stronger in your relationship, in your bond. Having said all of this though, obviously if someone is really toxic, to you, or if you have just outgrown someone in terms of compatibility, then there is a lot of option out there, so you can kind of move on. There's nothing wrong with that. But for the people that you actually have a connection with, that you actually love, then don't let some kind of a bit of drama, a little bit of drama, just get in between you. And I'm saying all of this, but this is something that I've recently realized. I've been realizing this a lot, but it's I'll admit it's quite difficult, right? It is quite difficult at times. Like when you're in the thick of like a disagreement, and your emotions get the better of you. Your ego gets the better of you. You get into a really helpless state. Then like all you can think of is to defend yourself, and put a wall between you and the other person. And it's very difficult, but it just takes a bit of open-mindedness and a bit of discipline, really. But mostly open-mindedness. Like it just takes a bit of changing of perspective and to see the other person's side, and also a bit of healing. I'm going to talk a lot more about kind of healing and stuff like that. Being able to basically come out of that dark, deep pit and to, come out and heal the relationship between you guys, right? And, again, it comes back to the love-hate thing. When you kind of go through the motions, when you go through the entire cycle, and you make the commitment to maintain a healthy relationship with that person or people, then you realize that like everyone is beautiful in their own way. When you're in the the argument or whatever, the drama, right, and you hate each other's guts, then we can subconsciously fall into a negatively focusing mode, and that means that we start to see all of the ugliness in someone, right? And if we make the mistake of cutting it there, then like that's going to be like our impression for like forever, basically. Like we're going to be stuck in that mode, and like the ending note is like a bad one. But if we stick with it, and and we heal we kind of patch things up with the other person, and just wait for it, because time. All it takes is time, right? At the end of the day, you just need to have faith, right? I mentioned faith in one of my earliest entries. You just have to have faith that time will heal even the most broken of hearts, right? And when that happens, you start to shift into a positive focusing mode, right? And you start to see the beauty in the other person, and you start to really appreciate that person being in your life. Despite all of the ugly aspects of that person, and it works for the other person as well. Whatever ugliness that you show to them, when if you just have faith and let it, let it just take its course, then you'll come to appreciate each other even more, right? Because it's like you have the contrast and you know each other more, right? People make the mistake that people make the mistake of kind of judging people too quickly, judging themselves too quickly. And thinking that the more darkness you find in someone, the more that you will be put off by them. But really, I find that it's the opposite. The more that you know about someone, whether it's good or bad, in your mind, the more that you come to appreciate that person, because that you really start to learn that person, and and you even start to see their kind of shortcomings and their kind of perhaps not so attractive traits as, you know, really endearing to you. So, you know, that's that, you know. You know, yeah, so the next time you find yourself kind of in disagreement with someone, or you start to feel helpless in your relationships, you start to feel that no one loves you, then, you know, just, if anything, you know, just maybe perhaps have a perspective change or do a bit of self-healing, but then but at the end of the day, just have faith, you know, just have the faith that you will come out of it and you guys will be more, you know, more deeply in love with each other than before, right? So that's one thing I want you to keep in mind, you know, whatever it is, you know, in business, relationships, you know, family or lovers, if you truly care about the other person and you truly care about the relationship, like, you know, then the most important thing is connection, you know, is commitment to the connection, you know, to keep coming back even when things turn sour, okay? So I'm hopefully going to follow my own advice because I'm working through this as well, but cool, you know, hope that was helpful, and you know, yeah, I hope you're appreciating someone in your life right now. So cool, this is it, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.